What's up, fam? Hey, man, you know what time it is. I'm about to break down things I think about in a market of this type of stature that we're seeing today. A lot of panic, a lot of worry is going on out here in this market. And I'm seeing this across a lot of media. I'm seeing this on some social media. I'm seeing this in the news media. I'm seeing this in the chat rooms. I'm seeing it everywhere, right? Where a lot of people are panicking based on what they're seeing in the market today. So I want to kind of break down in this video for you today what I expect the market to do over the next few days, and then how we can actually see this play out over time, and then even talk to you about my bull thesis at this point and why I actually made a bigger bet on the market to recover from the levels that it's currently at right now, and how I hope to see all this kind of fruition sooner rather than later. Okay. So, one of the main things that I like to talk about to people first and foremost before we get really deep into this video is that I like to let people understand the market has moments. It's always going to have moments. But the main thing that you really need to worry about when it comes to the market is where the next catalyst is coming from, okay? Now, we definitely have CPI data coming up. That is something to worry about, but I still think that inflation is going to be a little bit higher than what we actually expect for it to be at this time this year at these levels. But in comparison to next year, well, last year, we'll see where we're currently at, and that's something that we really can't do anything about right now. So I think Wall Street already understands this, and it's not something that we're going to linger on too much here today, right? I think that's what it really is going to come down to. But now we're getting conversation about there may be new candidates who may potentially be taking over the Federal Reserve chairman seat. Now, actually dethroning Jerome Powell. Now that still got more hashing out to do, and maybe the White House is just doing its own due diligence to ensure that they are actually doing the right thing about leaving Fed Chairman Jerome Powell in lieu of putting somebody else in that seat. We'll see how that plays out. Wall Street may not like that. If that does happen, we can see that the momentum that the market has seen and shifted towards may start to slow. This could be a real singular catalyst. I'm not here prepared to actually do a video based on who are some of these candidates more so, but you can read any news media outlet. You can see where a lot of these names are coming from. But more so what I care about is the impact of the market today. So let's start about overarching, looking at what's going on today in the after hours. Right now, if you actually was to scroll through the after hours, we're starting to see a nice little bit of a bounce to the upside to some positives, a little bit of green here, a little bit of green there on a lot of the stocks that had been down and out today, who had taken a beating on the day. And that's what we kind of expected. Maybe not today, but maybe it could have been on Thursday. But it actually happened sooner. It's a positive to me because that gives us a little bit more momentum behind the indexes to see them actually finish at a higher level, maybe even consistent to what we've seen all-time highs at already later this week. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because we want to see when this information comes out for the CPI data and what we actually started to hear was the result of who the Fed chairman is actually going to be, whether it's Jerome Powell or someone else. We want to get that sentiment out the way this week because we can get that sentiment out early and done with. We can actually start the trend back higher. Honestly, if you look at the market overall, let's just look over at the S&P 500. Let's do that first. When we look at the S&P 500, the S&P 500 touched down on the 5 EMA at this point in time, right? And for me, that's very bullish. It touched the 5 EMA, then it shot back up to your actual, heading back up towards my trend line that I already had set. Now, anything what we would have expected to see was to come back down to the 12, but it didn't even come nowhere near that. And that is more bullish sentiment to me. So when you see the spot actually moving like this in these things, right, you can actually see what's really going on. Even if you wanted to go ahead and actually add another indicator on to what you already see here, right? If we was to actually turn on more, like if you was to go over here and change your settings and turn this to 200 for the 20, and you actually got this lined up, right? You can actually just change this color just for the instance of what we're actually going to show here. Let's go with dark orange. Okay, so let's just show the 200 as well as we're on this chart. So what we'll see is that we got to check it. So when you go in, you got to check it too. So when you check it, boom. Okay, so let's look at this on the 200. Look at the 200. Look how far we are back away from where these levels of the pandemic started and how we're trending towards $500. Now, I'm not saying it's going to 500 right away immediately, but I do believe that we will still see 500 prior to Christmas. Okay, I think you'll see 490, you may see 495, somewhere in there. But now, one of the things that can impact this is the two catalysts that we already talked about. A little bit of CPI data, I think that's already priced in. Fed chairman being relieved and being somebody else, that can actually be a full scale setback. Full scale setback. Now, when you look at what's going on with Tesla, okay, let's talk about this for a second. Tesla has been on a dynamic rip for a very long while. Okay, now if you know anything about Tesla, you know there's always a 21-day cycle. And what I have learned and what I have watched and seen exhibited over time when it comes to Tesla, when it gets on one of these crazy runs that it takes, when it decides that now that 21-day cycle is over and it needs a breather, there's always some type of event that's behind it. Whether that's Elon coming in and saying that the stock is too high, whether there's Elon talking about, hey, should he go on Twitter? He goes on Twitter and he actually says he sell 10% of his earnings in Tesla stock, or any other catalyst that anyone else can come out with, right? 21-day cycle happens. There's some type of catalyst that come in that affect the stock. And in turn, with Tesla being such a beast of a stock and a dynamic such of a weight of a stock, it affects multiple sectors. And when it affects multiple sectors, those sectors are impacted the most, impacting the SPY and impacting the NASDAQ as well. So to me, this is not surprising to see Tesla slides first, and then it starts to way down on the SPY over time, as well as a lot of the market is now affected by what is going on with Tesla. So what I actually see when we look at Tesla right now, though, I actually see that right now we're looking for a retrace here, right? We have this gap down that we're looking at right here. It's about 944 to 910. It has to fill in that gap. And what I think that you're going to see is over time that you're going to see Tesla pull back to this range. Now, when it pulls back to this range, I would be interested in actually picking up more Tesla in this area, right? Because we've seen this area actually come up into an area where we need to actually pay attention to it. So I'm actually going to mark that here, that we're going to mark this area where it's somewhere that we are paying attention to as we continue forward on this path down. Okay, I'm not in a Tesla put. I think some of those are dangerous because this thing could turn back to the upside, especially if it's still momentum behind this in Wall Street bets at this point. But I am willing to buy more shares if it does pull down to about this between 954 and 874 range. But that's in this window right here of 913 to actually 943. So pay attention to that. We can see a retrace to this level because there is a gap that does need to be filled. Okay, so let's keep moving on, because what I want to talk to you about is the psychology behind my way of investing in the stock market. Okay, now I actually buy shares, right? We actually do this often and regular, that you continue to input long-term shares into your portfolio so you can see growth in your portfolio on any type of weakness in the market. Okay, but in some ways it's not weakness in the market, because what I really want to show you right now, let's look at IWM. IWM is actually the Russell 2000. If you're looking at the small caps, they have been on a run as well. So right now we're not seeing market weakness in the market, because we're starting to see this uptrend that is starting to happen consistently throughout the week. Look at this bottom that we saw at 95.69 here during the pandemic, okay? And then look at this run up, and then we actually had an area of right here where we actually went into consolidation period, right? Where we actually consolidated from this area over, and now we're starting to take that push right back up. So to me, this is actually something to actually pay attention to here, where you're saying the small caps are now running just as much. And what gives me even more hope in this market is once the infrastructure bill was signed, we're starting to see that the EV sector, all the charging stations all ran, right? And now we're starting to see cannabis stocks start to run as well. So that's starting to show sentiment that is in favor of a lot of these companies. So to me, these are areas of opportunities that you can take advantage of on this type of soft weakness that we're seeing. But if you was to actually just look at the retail sector, you look at the SPY, you look at the NASDAQ, you look at all these sectors, they're still moving and trending in the right direction. They're not even consolidating at this point. So let's talk about the market overall. Okay, well, I think about my psychology behind how to invest in this market going forward. What I'm looking for is this. I'm looking to actually still invest in options, actually take profit from options, invest them in the portfolio into bigger, longer gaining plays. i.e. like my SPY $500 call. If you're not part of my Discord, you will already know. If you were, you will already know what type of play that is for us. And the $430 call that we actually have out there as well. I'm looking at these two plays that they're going to be significant as we get towards the new year. So right now, it's easier to start the swing options than to be in these short-term option calls that a lot of people like to play. They're heavier in risk, and it's not actually helping your portfolio if you're not investing wisely in these areas. So what I like to do is swing these options, give myself a little bit more time, and actually take advantage of the plays that you can actually generate yourself. Now, when you give yourself a little bit more time on some of these plays, the development that you're seeing in the long range is still going to give you significant gain over time because you're actually not in a hurry to sell. But one of the things about risk management is that you actually have to know when it's time to sell in this market. So you need to understand that patience will get you paid. That is absolutely true. But at the same time, if you don't stay ready, you will never have an opportunity to get ready because the market will never wait for you to catch up. So you got to stay ready. You got to understand if you have this innate ability inside of yourself to check your gut, and your gut is telling you that it may be an opportunity time to sell right now, that's probably a more opportune time for you to go ahead and take something off the table at that point, so that way that you can actually live with yourself, seeing the market slide, and you're not in a hurry, in a panic to hit the sell button now because you're trying to preserve any gains that you already have. This is a finite ability to think about, right? So think about this as you're going about your day and dealing with anything in the market. Figure out a way that makes you feel at ease about the things that you see in the market, and making sure that you're taking profit off the table, building your war chest up of cash, so that way that when things don't go the way that the market expects, you are able to take advantage and buy the dips and then watch them rip. And when they rip, you still rinse and repeat the same method again. Take some money off the table, put it into positions that you believe in, and then keep some money on the sideline for another opportunity that the Wall Street did not expect to happen. This is the DNA of someone who's trying to build wealth over time. And this is one of the things that I'm influencing myself with and influencing others around me to actually think about. So you got to come up with your own psychology. You got to be positive in the psychology that you come up with. You got to test the theories that you make and then go for it and take the chance and the risk and the opportunity, because no one else is going to get you paid besides yourself. Hey man, if you like the type of psychology that I bring to the stock market, this is the type of times where you need to hit that subscribe button and bang that notification bell so you can be notified each and every time I drop way more high content like this. And if you found value in this content, definitely leave me with a like and let me know what option plays are you actually in right now and you see promise in down in the comments below. I'll be down there checking out the comments with y'all, man, and you know how it's a family affair every time I'm down there. So if you don't do anything else, check out the links for my Metaverse Pie. Check out some links down there to get you actually some free stocks as well, or even get you $50 in cash if you use the M1 Finance Pie link. And definitely do one thing for yourself and your family. Use that second link down below in the description where you can apply for life insurance with Ladder. It's simply the right thing to do to protect not only yourself, but your family too. It's been your boy Craig, man. I want to catch y'all in the next video. I want y'all to stay safe. Peace.